All right. 15. Two hikers begin hiking at the same time from different locations on a trail. The system of equations graphed on the grid represents the situation. So it's a system, and that when you see more than two lines on a graph, that means it's a system. All right. Which value best represents the number of hours the two hikers have been hiking when they are the same distance from the start of the trail? Best represents the number of hours. So number of hours is the x value. So we want an x value, and it wanted the same distance. Same distances means where they both have the same value. Now, basically what this question is asking is, where do the two lines meet? Like, where do we see the two lines intersect, and what is the x value where they intersect? It's right where my cursor is, like this, right here. And it wants the x value, so that means I trace down to here, and it looks like it's going to be something between 1 and 2. Looks like it's a little bit closer to 1 than it is 2, so that looks like it's that one. I mean, that's the only answer choice between 1 and 2. Interesting how the previous question was a really hard system. Well, I think it was 13. 13 was a really hard systems question. This one's like just point at the right x value, whatever. Okay, which function is equivalent to that? Ooh, boy. So that is a factoring question. That's a pretty challenging one. So I'm gonna go to Desmos to kind of make some sense of this. Okay, so there's a couple ways we can do this. One is how I taught you how to factor. This is a very challenging factoring question because that's 6. Normally we would find factors of 21, but there's a 6. So you actually do 6 times 21, and 6 times 21 is 126. And what I want to do is I want to find factors of 126 that add up to 23. Okay, what? So let's do I gotta break that down. 2 times 63, that's 126, but those do not add up to 23. Let's just go. Oh, I know it. No, that's not it. 6 times 21, that's also 126, but those add up to 27. What else? 18 times 7. Okay, but those add up to 25. I'm kind of running out of options. I think I know what it is. It is 14 times 9. Yeah, 14 times 9 is 126, and 14 plus 9 is 23. That's a challenging one. Okay, so that means I have to do 14 and 9. So here's the deal. Okay, so I'm going to explain it the long way. The long way is like this. So let's say it says minus 6x squared, right? So I'm going to split up 23, I mean negative 23, into minus 9x and minus 14x plus 21. All right, so now we have that. So the long way of doing this is now I need to find the greatest common factor of the first two terms. The greatest common factor of 6x squared and 9x is 3x. And now divide that out, that creates 2x minus 3. So like if I divide 3x on both of these, I get 2x minus 3. Over here, I am now going to find the greatest common factor of these two. And since that says negative, I want a negative factor. The greatest common factor of those two is negative 7. So I would write minus 7, and then if I divide both of these by minus 7, negative 14x divided by negative 7 is 2x. Positive 21 divided by negative 7 is negative 3. Now I have that. Now notice both factors say 2x minus 3, and then I get to combine those two greatest common factors together, and notice that is answer choice A. Yeah. That is a very challenging factoring question, but that's how you do it. It's one way to do it. Yep. All right. So here we go. Okay, part of an exponential function is graphed in the grid. Here it is. Which statements are true about the domain range of the part of the function? All right. So it looks like we have one where the basically domain and range depends on the endpoints. So we have one endpoint here at 2, 1, and then we have another endpoint at 5, 8. Okay, so the domain number has to do with the 2 and the 5. The range has to do with the 1 and the 8. Because like domain's x's and range is y. So let's see what answer choices actually say these things I'm just saying out loud. No, go away. No. Hold up. Dude, I don't know what's going on with my computer. Just doing these things. Okay, so the 1 and the 8 are range. So the first one says domains 1 and 8. That's wrong. It's not all real numbers. It's not all real numbers. Okay, so the domain is 2 to 5 because that says 2 and that says 5. And the range is 1 to 8. So it's 1, 8. So it's greater than 1, less than 8. Greater than 1, less than 8. And those are the two correct answer choices. It's those two. Okay, function in G is defined by 3x minus 2x minus 5. What are the solutions to g of x is 0? Okay, there are two ways we can do this. We can do this via factoring, or we can do it via graphing. I'm assuming you like graphing. I recommend getting decent with the graphing part. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to like plug that into Desmos. And solutions mean x-intercepts. Really, it just wants to know where, like this is going to make a parabola, and it just wants to know where does the parabola cross the x-axis, and one of these is right. So if I go to Desmos, so let's see, and I plug what that said, no, that won't copy paste correctly. So it's 3x squared minus 2x minus 5. So let's see, 3x squared minus 2x minus 5. Okay, we go down to here. All right, so it really wants to know where does it cross the x-axis. We have two values. We have a value here at about 1.666, which if you don't know in fractions, that's 5/3. That is 5/3 is a fraction, and that is -1. So that means our answer choices are -1 and 5/3. Yeah, that is one way to do it. So -1 and 5/3. Yeah. Yeah, that's really all I had to do. I mean, I could have factored this and solved, but that would take longer. And I recommend getting like good at just like putting stuff in a calculator and looking at the x-intercepts. That's probably how I would do most of these questions. All right, which function represents this? All right, this is exponential. Exponential means as the x values are adding, the y values are multiplying. So we got to know how much we're multiplying by. And the way to do that is if I were to so if I want to know how much we're multiplying by every time, I would do the opposite of multiplication, that's divide. So if I take the second one and I divide by the first one, it gives me how much we are multiplying by. Now notice we're all in fractions, and it says 2/3. 2/3 is not 1.5, but 3/2 is 1.5. So that means the value inside the parentheses has to say 3/2. Is it C or D? Now the difference between C and D is that says 32 and that says 48. Now notice up here it says 1, 48. 1, 48 means that's not the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the value of y when x is 0. G of x is y, right? So that means the answer is C. Because another way to do it is if I actually do 48, like if I do 48 and I divide that rate of 1.5, I get 32. Meaning like if I were to go up one more row above 1, we would say 0, 32. And that's why the answer is C. All right, let's see what that is. All right, here is the silly causation question. So this is something I'm going to teach briefly on the date of April 7th. All right, which situation best represents association but not causation? All right, there's like zero math in this and all, and I'm not even sure why they care about this. But all right, association means things are related, but there's no cause and effect relationship between them. Meaning like you're associated with your friends, but your friends don't actually they're not reasons why you exist or anything like that. You know, that's what association means. And causation means there's a cause and effect relationship. Okay. You know, I if I really watch all these videos that this teacher is making, I'll probably do better on the test. You know, that's a cause and effect relationship. So let's find out which one is they're related, but not necessarily relying on each other. Like causation means like one relies on the other. All right, A, when the number of spectators at a football game increases, the number of wins for the home team increases. Okay, there is like zero relationship between how many people are in the stands and whether or not the team is any good. A is actually association without causation. Like you would never say, oh, that's a great football team because there's a lot of people in the stands. That makes no sense. All right, let's see. Let's make sure the other ones are. So when there are more gallons of water put in the aquarium, the weight of the aquarium increases. That is definitely causation. More volume leads to more weight. That is definitely causation. When the amount of time an athlete runs increases, the distance she runs increases. Yes, how much time you spend leads to distance. That's very true. When the charge of a cell phone battery increases, the number of minutes the phone can be used increases. Yes, how much energy it has allows you to use it. So B, C, and D are causation because one, like the when part of the sentence and the after the comma part of the sentence, they rely on each other. They are very heavily related with cause and effect. A makes no sense. Okay. All right, so quadratic function f of x is x squared is transformed to create g as shown below. Okay, so what happened? It went down and it went left. Okay. Which of the equations is that? All right, so first up, the down part would be like -2, so that's a -2 outside of the whole function. The left would not be -3. The left would actually be +3, and that'd be +3 inside of the function. Okay, so that's why A is the answer, because the -2 makes it go down. The +3 made it go left. Oh, God, there's an example of it possibly being B. Oh, it's actually B. Ooh, this is tough. Now, the reason why it's B is because this 2 is the reason why it looks thinner. Like, if you notice, like, the original F1 is a bit wider than the G1, the 2 actually makes it look thinner. So the 2 made it look thinner, the 3 made it go left, and the -2 made it go down. That's pretty challenging. Sure. All right. That's kind of hard. I don't even know why they bother with this. All right, so next up, the graph line represented by the equation. Oh, I have to graph that. Fun. Okay, so select 2 points of the coordinate plane. All right, so there's a couple ways to do this. I can rearrange this to say y equals mx plus b, but in this form, it's very easy to figure out the intercepts. So let me go over here. So what I mean by the intercepts is if okay, so we have 2x plus 3y equals 6. All right, so let's just say this. I want to get the y-intercept. Y-intercept is what is the value of y when x is 0. So 2 times 0 plus 3y equals 6. 2 times 0 is 0. So I'm left with 3y equals 6. And that would mean my y-intercept is y equals 2, meaning the y-intercept is 0, comma 2. So that means this touches here. Okay. Next, so that's solving for y-intercept. X-intercept would be the opposite. That'd be if I make y 0. If I make y 0, that means now y is 0. I solve for x. So that would be 2x equals 6, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3, and that would mean we would have a coordinate of 3, 0. So 3, 0 is here, and that's the answer. Because all you need is 2 coordinates, and so when you're given what's this called standard form, meaning it's like the x and y on the same side, I recommend doing that. And okay, that's what I have enough time for in this video.